name is Maria Ma. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at the Victorian Ombudsman. My personal background has been very much formed by the fact that I came to Australia as a refugee. I couldn't speak any English when I arrived here, and the core values of equity, of fairness, of human rights really were formative in influencing a lot of my career choices and career decisions. I spent 15 odd years in the higher education sector, and then approximately 4.5 years ago I started in my current role as the Chief Operating Officer with the Victorian Ombudsman. The key trend that I see is around putting community, putting members of public, putting that customer at the centre of everything that we do. I think that is a huge challenge. It's a huge opportunity, but I think it's also a huge challenge. How to match government services so that citizens can expect to receive same service from government that they would receive, for example, from a bank. And I think certainly community has those expectations of government. The government's challenge now is to meet those expectations. And I think that the only way how that can be achieved is if there is a lot greater collaboration across government departments and agencies. A key project that I'm working on right now is around, and it's very much in line with the customer-centric experience. How do we improve the experience that we provide? In our case, within our jurisdiction, it is the complainants. How can we improve the quality of the service that the complainants who contact the Victorian Ombudsman receive? There is a huge appetite for digital services. There is a huge appetite for us to remain relevant and to be accessible for all members of the Victorian community. So a key project is how do we improve on the particularly digital services that we offer? How can we ensure that complainants can access services from us at their own choosing? And how do we improve the responsiveness in meeting their needs? I think the project is critical because it goes at the heart of the community relationship with government services. I think trust is at the heart of that. So how do we ensure that we are accountable and that we provide transparent services at all times? So, for example, one of the ways how we are improving on our accountability and transparency is by having on our website performance data about ourselves available to the complainant, so the members of public can keep us accountable on how we are providing in terms of our responsiveness, our timeliness, and our ability to either resolve a complaint very quickly, or in instances where a member of community approaches us but we cannot, their complaint is outside our jurisdiction because, for example, it is a complaint about their water bill or their telecoms provider, how do we in the most efficient way refer them to the correct provider as opposed to just saying, sorry, we can't help you, goodbye, off you go and contact someone else. So putting the member of community at the centre of everything we do. A key tool and strategy that we are using to meet the community expectations is very much to ask them what it is that their needs are, as opposed to assume what it is that they expect from us. We are doing that in a very a typical way of complainant satisfaction surveys that we do through an independent third-party provider, and so we now have very rich data set to help measure how we deliver service, how we can improve on that service, and how community expectations and needs have changed over time. Great innovation for me is not a process. Great innovation for me, it's all about people, and it's about how we invest in our people in order for them to be able to innovate. I think that the best way how people will innovate is if we create the right environmental organisational structures and cultures that really promote experimenting, that really encourage our staff to try and for us to celebrate the fact that we have attempted to do something, as opposed to whether or not it was a success or not. So a really good example of that is the online complaints form that we introduced just before COVID hit, which really has been a good example of putting forward and implementing something that was good rather than great, and then through continuous improvement, working to refine it, further customise it, further make it more relevant and accessible. The biggest takeaway and the thing that I have enjoyed the most has been the commonality of the problems across the audience and across the speakers. I think collaboration really is the key that is binding us all together. Finding a way to do that effectively and efficiently remains a challenge. And I think the other thing that has really stood out for me is the goal of putting citizen at the centre and citizen experience at the centre of everything we do has been a really powerful message that hopefully will bind us all together in times to come.